Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Barks, the one with fight. What do you mean Barks has fight? Johnny? What do you mean Barks has fight? Johnny? What do you mean Barks has fight? Oh, hey, man. What do you mean Barks has fight? Here, try some of this. Ouch. I haven't seen him that excited since he got his heels. Ouch. You tell him, Johnny. You tell the world.
Got the mic going there? You finished coughing? Microphone up. Perfect. That piece of 90s advertising gold can mean only one thing. A visit from Vancouver Giants GM Barclay Parneta, and a reminder that all of our guests on this Friday are sponsored by Passant Motors. Passant is looking to help save you money in 2024. Choose no car payments, no gas payments, or no insurance payments until the summer. Get all the info at PassantMotors.com. Barclay and the Giants continuing their Prairie road trip tonight in Regina. You've been there, Rick.
Yep.
2-1 on the road so far. They lost 7-2 the other night, Wednesday, to Saskatoon. Saskatoon, keep in mind, number 2 ranked in the Canadian Hockey League right now.
Great team.
And we're joined now by Barclay Parneta, GM of the Giants, they've made a couple of trades recently. Barclay, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
Hey, I'm all right. Unusual Friday for myself be on the show, but I was held up in Saskatoon there and minus 35 yesterday. So I'm glad to be on today.
So it's warm in Vancouver is what you're saying.
It is. It's balmy. That's why Dolly's wearing that shirt. He's ready to go to the beach.
I wear this shirt every Friday. Hawaiian.
Hey, what did that number 2 ranked Saskatoon show you on Wednesday?
You know what? They're a good team. There's no question about it. We got a little at siege at time. They had 3 really good lines. We're like on the World Junior Tour back there where everybody's coming back from World Juniors and it's like their debut game. I think against Moose Jaw, I think it's going to be Savoy and Matejchuk are back as well. So, you know what? They've done a good job at putting things together, gathering assets. I got to give them full marks on what they've been doing there, but pretty solid team up and down the lineup.
Hey, Bark, the Western Hockey League trading deadline was this week. You ended up being buyers. Last couple of years, you've been sellers. You got a couple of 19-year-old forwards. Talk about the thought process heading into this trade deadline, why you guys were buyers.
Well, you know what? You're right. The last couple of years we've been selling. We've gathered some assets, and we're on the way back up. We want to build towards not just doing something this playoff, but something that made sense for next year as well. I think that the belief is there. Like, we look at our lineup, we're not super happy where we are, but we were missing Sam Honzik. We lost a 19-year-old Damon Palmieri and Karen Gronick, which are big holes to fill in junior hockey. So our record isn't as good. So when Sam returns, it's like getting a free player. The ownership group and myself felt that if we could add a couple pieces that are legitimate, we needed to get scoring. We're a low-scoring team right now, and both these players, Zimmer's a one-shot scorer, Levis the same. And, having Levis a drafted player, a local kid, I think he's going to be motivated, and I think that he's going to have a really good year with us this year and add a lot of scoring.
Hey, Bark, the last 2 years you have traded the captain of your hockey club. You didn't do it this year. I'm sure you did get offers for Samuel Honzik. Talk a little bit about why you hung on to him.
You know what? It's time to show people that are coming to the games that, you know what, we're not going to do that again. There's a reason to still come, and there's a belief here. I think Sam brings a lot to the room, along with Jaden Lipinski. We had a lot of teams calling. Obviously, we've had a history of doing that, but it was important at this point that, you know what, let's commit to the people that are here. We have some young players. Look, like when I went in the last 2 years and I'm telling these players, hey, by the way, we just traded our captain, the young guys get excited, but the older guys are somewhat let down because they're like, well, that doesn't really help me. When you get these draft picks, I'm not even going to be here. So, the guys that have been through that now they see, wow, they're getting players. So, and they didn't just, trade away their older guys. And also, we weren't actively trying to trade Ostapchuk last year. We literally were getting crazy offers. So that's the one thing I want to make clear too. The year before, we did sort of plant seeds, and we talked about the potential of where we're at and potentially moving Justin Surda at the deadline.
Hey, Barclay, and we're talking with Barclay Parneta, GM of the Vancouver Giants. You mentioned being in Saskatoon on the road with the Giants. Again, sensitive subject, but what goes through your mind, and you've been on the bus a lot, when you hear about an incident like the one earlier this week, I believe, Seattle Thunderbirds bus going off the road on the way to Kelowna. Everybody was okay, but what goes through your mind when you hear something like that?
Well, I mean, my first thought is everybody okay, and you know what? Thankfully, it was just like a slide off. It wasn't like a rollover or anything serious. The hours and the bus drivers that are in the league are excellent. Obviously, road conditions was a primary factor, and you know what? Whenever our team's traveling, you know what? Whether it's up to Prince George, you know what? I always have the guys text me, okay, we got here, whether it's 4 a.m. or 9 a.m. I like to know that, but. You know what? The league does a good job at, making sure guys are ready to drive the bus. We try to do our best to manage our time on the road and make sure, our bus drivers get longer check-ins so they sleep and then they come. So no, you know what? It's a concern. There's no kidding. When you're driving in Canada in the winter, you know what? That's what happened in Swift Current. You're mindful of it. I can't say that I don't think about it, but it does weigh on your mind sometimes when you're traveling. But you know what? Really good people, I think, that are doing this right now, and they're aware, checking road conditions before you go and all of that. So I've got a lot of faith in our bus company right now, certainly.
Something a little more cheerful, I think, for you. Do you have any thoughts on the way the Canucks are playing right now, what they're up to and on top or near the top of the NHL's overall standings, Barclay?
Yeah, you know what? It's awesome. Like, who would have thought that after the last couple of years? Honestly, they've got a lot of good people there, and I thought they had a lot of pieces. But if you were to ask me at the start of the year if they would have been at this level already, I would have said no. I've been to one game this year, but I'll tell you what, it shows you how important good coaching staff is. And they always had sort of players around there, but that philosophy is really set down by the head coach. Head coaches are so important to organizations, whether it's at our level or the next. They're really the driving force behind the identity of what happens on the ice. Management try to sort of fill and do, and they've done a really good job with some of the pickups there. So, you know what? Am I surprised? Yes. Am I happy? Certainly. Like, they've got good hockey people there that is particularly that coaching staff, and I think they're really getting the most of their guys right now.
Barclay, it's late, but Happy New Year. Thanks so much for doing this.
Hey, one more. I'd like to see a few more Western League guys on the team, though. I would like to see that on the Canucks. Maybe a Vancouver Giant too. They still haven't drafted a Vancouver Giant, so
that is so true, Bart.
Draft a Giant this year.
You wouldn't believe how many texts and emails we get saying, I love what the Canucks are doing, but not just Western Hockey League players, but get some more Canadians on that roster. We do get texts like that.
I think they have. I think they have over 13 or 14 non-Canadians. So
it's a heavy. Well, a lot of Americans on the Canucks this year, Bark.
Yeah.
But you are correct, and the owner of your team complains about that quite a bit too.
Well, I'm not speaking for my owner. I'm just saying from my perspective, I would like to the Giants to have some Canuck draft picks.
Yes.
They had one player that I believe, maybe two, Connaughton, and then back in the day they had a
Bliznak.
Bliznak. But he wasn't drafted from the Giants. He was drafted from Europe and came to the Giants. So if anybody texts in, they know that he wasn't drafted from the Vancouver Giants.
Yeah. Wouldn't the perfect scenario be to have a Giants draft pick or somebody from the Giants drafted by the Canucks and he stays with the Giants and he's a star and you have a great team? Wouldn't that be just perfect?
I think it would be awesome.
Hey,
I would be just backed about that.
Barclay, Rick will call his buddy Jimmy, and we're going to make it happen. No. We'll make it happen.
Get on that.
Hey, Bark, stay warm. Get a toque, gloves, long johns, whatever you got to do. Stay warm, my friend.
I'm back now, buddy. I'm going to Delta Ice here. I got my motorcycle jacket on and head out.
Hey, hold it. I heard you on Bruff and Rough, and you said you were in Saskatoon.
At the start of this interview, he told us he's back home.
I flew back yesterday night, so
I'm thinking of you, though. Hey,
it's cold here.
It's cold here. Still applies.
Yeah. That's right, Dolly. You know what? Now I know that you weren't listening, so that's okay.
Welcome to our world, Barclay. Thanks, buddy.
All right.
Appreciate it. Barclay Parneta, GM of the Vancouver Giants.